Hello movie lovers, I'm Sean and I'm your movie stills guy. You know, I've never really been a fan of Superman. I don't even know why. I mean, everyone knows who he is. You even think the word superhero and your mind instantly goes to Superman. So what is it about him I don't like? Well, maybe it's just that he's too generic. Like, yeah, he's the first superhero, but that could be part of the problem. Like, his powers are very basic. You got the traditional flight, super speed, etc., etc. But someone like me who grew up on more interesting heroes like Spider-Man, the X-Men, and of course my most favorite of all superheroes, Batman. So when I heard that there was going to be a new Superman movie coming out, I wasn't really that impressed. But for curiosity's sake, I checked it out. And thank God I did, because Man of Steel was freaking awesome. That's not to say it's without problems though, but we'll get to those in a minute. I'm going to talk about some of the good stuff about it, the bad stuff, and yeah, like, I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but like, if I do give spoilers, then don't worry, I'll give you a warning, and you can go do whatever. So, what's the plot of Superman? Well, who the hell doesn't know the plot of Superman? It's Moses with aliens. An alien species known as Kryptonians sent. Their planet gets destroyed. One of the lead scientists sends his son off to a distant planet to save his life. Blah blah blah. Really, if you don't know the story, then where the hell have you been? So the story is about the same as they've always been, except now apparently Krypton has become the Matrix, where all babies are genetically grown. Yeah, I wish I was kidding with that. It did seem like a weird idea, but I don't know. It's just something that maybe you'd like, or if you're an original fan of the comic book, maybe it's not for you. Me personally, well, with the way the story was written, I thought it was kind of clever. So yes, a Kryptonian scientist named Jor-el, played by Russell Crowe, manages to send his infant son Jor-el, who is apparently the first purebred Kryptonian in like centuries or whatever, until the planet is taken over, tried to take over by the evil General Zod, played by Michael Shannon. Not as hammy as Terrence Stamp from Superman 2. Yes, I did watch that, but I gotta admit, he did a really good job. I really got how evil he was. So yeah, the traditional story. Jor-el sends Kal-El to Earth, and then for some reason we jump ahead to like 20 or 30 years in the future, and we see Kal-El as a young man who is now Clark Kent. We don't even see him crash on the planet. We don't see his parents finding him on Earth. It's just suddenly he's a grown man. That kind of threw me off a bit. I didn't care for that. It's true, we do see bits of his life in flashbacks, but, like, come on, this isn't Watchmen or Batman where there's some mystery going on. No, it's freaking Superman! Everyone knows this! But I digress. So, yeah, eventually, General Zod escapes from his prison. I don't know why I said evil prison. If it's a prison, I assume all people are there. I'm not going scripted here, so you can probably tell already. But yeah, he manages to locate Earth because he's been trying to find Jor-el for all this time. And yeah, he makes Jor-el an offer to help him, you guessed it, take over the world. And yes, I do have that clip. Just give me a second. I'm going by non-edited crap here. So once it's up.
Of course!
I love that clip. Anyway. So yeah, that's all I'm really going to talk about the story, except for really clever thing I should point out. Clark Kent, like as Clark Kent, not as Superman, he doesn't go don his Clark Kent disguise until the very end. I'm not counting that as a spoiler because, like, what's there to spoil for it? It's just basically saying he doesn't become Clark Kent until the very end. So yeah, if it is a spoiler, I apologize. But let's talk about some of the good stuff about this. there's one word to describe this movie, and that is big. Zack Snyder, God bless him. I loved his work in Watchmen, and also Sucker Punch. I don't know why people don't like that. I thought it was good, but yeah, this movie is big, and I like, not just in the sense of like city-wise or stuff like that. No, the fights between Superman and General Zod and General Zod's army, which by the way is a much better idea as opposed to him just having like 2 other people fighting alongside him. This guy has an army to back him up, which is much more believable. But yeah, the fact having General Zod and other Kryptonians for Superman to fight people who are basically on his level of strength, that is a good idea to start off with, because then there's so much opportunity to go with that. Unfortunately, there's some points when it's not done well, and I'll get to that later. Yeah, let's talk about his life between Krypton and Earth. Supposedly in this movie, Krypton has a different atmosphere, so I guess they breathe different air or minerals or whatever than Earth. So people could question like, why is Superman able to live on Earth? Well, they throw the idea that because he's lived on Earth for so long that he's adapted to it. And yeah, I guess the idea behind that would be that that Krypton's atmosphere is slightly different from Earth's, not too far off, but it's enough for someone like Lois Lane, who does show a reaction to Kryptonian atmosphere. Yeah, I'll explain that in a sec. That she can't really breathe in a Kryptonian atmosphere, so that kind of makes sense. Now, to make sense of that, there's a scene where both Superman and Lois Lane are called up to General Zod's ship, which has the Kryptonian atmosphere. So not only does Lois Lane have trouble breathing, but Superman also has trouble breathing. And there's also another problem with that, but again, I'm going to it later. The fight scene between Zod and Superman is just wow. Like, I was blown away by how huge and bombastic it was. Just, I don't know how many theaters have this, but there's like some new seats around where like they vibrate or something. It reacts to the action in the movie. I wasn't sitting in one of those, but I think someone behind me was, and I could feel that thing. It was loud. Just Jesus. Let's see what else to talk about. I do like the way Superman's costume looks now. Like, I don't know what other people's opinion of it is, but why it works for me is that, like, yeah, it still kind of looks like his traditional tights, but at the same time, I don't know, it kind of looks like Kevlar or something, like it's almost kind of protective and not just, looks pretty. It actually does look like it could be functional as some kind of protection. Oh, funny thing, apparently there's a scene where apparently Zod has this kind of, where Zod has the same type of skin tight costume, and I swear to God, it looks like the Red Sun costume. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. Even though like I've never really read any of the Red Sun comics, I've seen the costume on the Injustice game, which if you don't know that, check it out. It's a fun game. But yeah, like this movie is like huge. Definitely worth a watch. But let's talk about some of the bad stuff now. Some of the stuff that made no sense or just was plain stupid. Like I said, the jumping ahead 30 years into Superman's life where he's suddenly an adult. That nah. Like, again, it's not like Batman or Watchmen or even with Sucker Punch where there was some mystery to it. Like, no, it's freaking Superman. Everyone knows his story. He crash lands on Earth, a couple of farmers find him, he grows up in their home, done! Like, why do you need some mystery to that? Everyone knows that story. But, yeah. Oh, speaking of the parents, the father, played by Kevin Costner, by the way, what can I say about him? kind of bland, I guess. Like, he just didn't seem like the good Kansas father that Jonathan Kent was. Like, again, I don't know much about the character. I've never really been a fan of Superman, but I don't know. I've seen some adaptations, like the 90s animated series, which I did enjoy. So, yeah, Costner's performance just seemed out of place, especially a scene where Superman and him have a fight. Yes, I'm dead serious about this. They have a fight about Superman finding out that he's not really their son. He goes through the whole, oh, you're not really my father bullshit. You know what? As far as I know with Superman, he didn't care, okay? He knew... He understood that the Kents weren't his birth parents, but they were still his parents! They raised him! Oh, and speaking of this little argument, right after that scene, and again, this is not a spoiler, because I'm pretty sure this is in other adaptations, Jonathan Kent dies after that fight scene. That screams Spider-Man. Why was that needed in a Superman movie? In fact, as I recall, in the, I don't know how many other adaptations it is, but I think it's in the Richard Donner Superman movies from like 1970s something, or 80s something, whatever. That, that Jonathan Kent died of a heart attack. So the idea was that with all of Superman's strength, he couldn't save his father. So what was the point of them having a fight and then him suddenly being whisked off to Oz or something? That was really stupid. And again, like I said, it's to Spider-Man. This exact scene happens in the Spider-Man movie where Peter Parker has a fight with his Uncle Ben saying, oh, you're not really my father, stop acting like it. And then he got shot. The point of that was that Spider-Man, not only did he regret saying those things to his uncle, but he could have stopped the man who murdered his uncle, well, earlier on, and then realized, oh, well, I guess now I need to save other people so that stuff like this doesn't happen to me again. Okay, so now I might be getting into some spoiler stuff, so... Oh wait, no, not yet. There's something else I gotta talk about, and then we'll get into the spoilers. So, yeah, let's talk about that atmosphere thing again, where Superman apparently cannot breathe the Kryptonian atmosphere because he's been on Earth his entire life. That's somewhat of a clever idea, except for the fact that there are two separate scenes where Superman goes into space and yet he's fine! Why does he need to breathe then? But, yeah. A clever idea, not done well. So, okay, now we'll get into the spoilers, because we're gonna talk about the final scene and the motive of Zod and all that. So, this is going on YouTube, so I'll post when to skip to, so you can get to the end or whatever. So, yeah, again, spoilers. Sorry, I'm doing a. If you know the Nostalgia Critic and that guy with the glasses, you'll know where that's from. So, yeah, the final fight. In Metropolis. Like I said, it's fantastic, but Metropolis was way too big. Like, not only is there a crater where a bomb or a black hole goes off, but then they go on to smash the rest of the city. It's like, how much more of the city can they smash? In fact, let's actually look at one of the earlier Superman movies, even though it's a really poor one, Superman 4. They fight all over the world. Why couldn't they do that here? Especially with the special effects they had. That would have been awesome! But no, instead we get to smash through Metropolis like 50 billion times. Seriously, how is Metropolis even standing after that? Then there's the final scene where... Zod is trying to kill some people with his laser vision. And yeah, he's doing this very slowly, and it's like, why don't the people just walk away or duck under it? Or even more, why doesn't Superman, like, push his head down or something to make him look at the ground, or just throw him? Instead, he just breaks his neck? Admittedly, that's a... Like, I'm not against him having to kill him, because that's still a very powerful scene, and, you know, well done for that, but the execution of it, again, not done very well. Okay, so That's some of the bad stuff for the spoilers. You should be back by now. Oh, actually, there's something I forgot about with some of the good stuff. Crap, what was it? I lost my place. Well, let's talk about some of the other characters while I do it. Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams. She was good. I thought she did a good job. Not really forgettable like that woman in Superman Returns. Yes, I saw that, and my brain is still recovering from it. Yeah, they still made her the no-nonsense reporter who will do anything to get the story. They didn't make her completely stupid, who will go into situations that she knows she can't get out of. That was good. That was a good idea. Michael Shannon, like I said, as General Zod, he was amazing. I really got how evil he was. Even with the desperate moments, I understood his pain. Oh, Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White, the Daily Planet editor-in-chief. Well, I did like how heroic he looked at times, but I don't know. There were, aside from the fact that it's Lawrence Fishburne, it's kind of forgettable, isn't it? Oh, okay, now I remember what it was. It was that the military on Earth doesn't trust Superman. That was brilliant. No other adaptation I know of has ever done that. And, you know, it's like, why? He's an alien! The government shouldn't be trusting him like that. They could have thought he was a threat the whole time, like Zod was. Hell, him and Zod are the same species. They should have thought immediately that he was a threat. But again, that's going back to other movies like with Superman 2. Well, so am I disappointed that maybe like Lex Luthor wasn't in it because like he's his ultimate villain? No, I'm not. There's a nice little hint at Lex Luthor because there's a truck with the LexCorp logo on it, but like Lex Luthor, he's a guy. There's not really much to him except that he's a criminal genius. He's the kingpin of the DC universe. Not really much to him to that. And yeah, it's actually good that they held off Lex Luthor until like a sequel or something because Lex Luthor, his only method of attacking Superman is kryptonite, and yeah, bringing kryptonite into the game this early, probably not that good idea. Have Superman fight someone who he can stand up to, like him, like Zod. What else? Oh, the effect on Superman for him discovering his powers at a very young age. That was pretty cool. Like going through his POV, you can actually see like what the X-ray looks like. It actually looked like a really cool effect, and also the kid playing the young Superman was very good. I actually felt his pain that he was going through. Like he didn't know what was going on. He was scared. Just really well done. Nothing more to say about that. One last thing to point out before I go. It's another bad thing, I should say, is that there were a lot of times when the camera was very shaky, I noticed, specifically on Krypton. I guess the idea was that Krypton was about to explode, but I don't know. Krypton had a lot of time to explode, and the shaky cam just seemed unnecessary. Here's all the moments that happened during this opening scene on Krypton before it explodes. You got the birth of Jor-el, or no, not Kal-El. I don't know where brain exploded. Yeah, the birth of Kal-El. Jor-el speaking to the High Council about Krypton's destruction. General Zod starting the coup in order to take over Krypton. Jor-el trying to get some ancient device or something to hide from Zod or whatever. I don't really know. But yeah, that happens. He escapes from Zod's forces. He gets Kal-El into the ship and launches it. He gets into a fight with Zod, And then there's Zod's trial, where he and his gang are sent into the Phantom Zone. That's 8 moments before Krypton finally explodes. So what was the point of the shaky cam? In fact, you know what? It doesn't matter what's going on in the movie. A shaky cam is never good to look at. Like, look at this. Would you enjoy the review if I just did this the entire time? I don't think so. Alright, so that's all I've got to say. Man of Steel has some good moments, has some bad moments, but overall, it's still worth a watch. So, you know, go to your local theater or whatever, go watch it. Or if you don't want to waste money in a theater, just go buy it when it comes out, or go see it on Netflix. I'm sure it's gonna be on there eventually. So yeah, hope you all enjoy Man of Steel. I'm the Movie Steals guy, and that's my opinion.